44th Contact Monday, February 16, 1976. 3:10 a.m. Semjase and Billy discussed the deceitful Saint Germain, his true name, mortality and hypnotic powers. Billy says, Miss Rufer asked whether you can impart information to me for her about these works and the authors. Semjase says, I am very sorry, but I know neither these books named here nor the authors. Only this name here is known to me, this Saint Germain, a quiet malicious person, who did many things deceitfully, supposedly in order also to fulfill dangerous things for the Freemasons, through which they in turn allegedly could seize control of the world, if not, as would be falsely asserted, order had been troubled for from the other side. Everything is naturally not correct, rather it is based on a pure invention of Freemason unfriendly elements. Semjase says, you should take more trouble for your health, yet now ask that which you cannot drop, therewith you can, then still get some sleep. Billy says, so, yes, how is that essentially? Do you know all the literature that has been written about UFOs or contact persons? Semjase says, no, we do not require it because we know the facts best. Certainly I have studied various texts, especially any that I have received from you. But I am very disappointed, how incorrect, falsified and without great truths these are rendered, not to mention any records that portray pure mendacious worthlessness. Billy says, that is sufficient for me. I don't want to know more. Then you can go on now with your clarification about Saint Germain. Semjase says, so listen then, but are you really not too tired? Your nerves vibrate much. That is not good. Billy says, do you absolutely want to keep me from my work? Semjase says, you are simply unteachable in this respect. You drive yourself to bad exhaustion with your powers. Yet, as you want, Saint Germain's real name is Rakachi, whereby he also assigned himself other names as, for example, Ama or Marquis de Betmer, and so forth. The name Saint Germain was only used by the adventurer in his self-appointed status as Count Saint Germain. Born in the sign of Aries in the year 1711 in Cologne, you name it Cologne today, whereby however he attributed to himself a Portuguese origin. He died in the year 1784 at the age of 73 years. In his lifetime he was the greatest deceiver, charlatan, liar and spy, and indeed in the service and commission of a sect in Germany which was obsessed with world domination at that time. He passed himself off as being 1,000 years old, whereby however he was often confused in his own statements, and so differences of up to 300 years age variation came about. In and of himself he was quite stupid, which he, however, through his enormous cleverness, cunning, manual skill and alchemistic knowledge, and so forth, could again offset, and he even attained extraordinarily good results in sleight of hand that he then passed off as magical powers. He was subsequently named a wonder man, and no one suspected also only that he was the worst deceiver of his time. Only a European Christian sect was oriented about this, because he was indeed a man who stood in their service and who also thereby troubled to take counts, princes and kings, as well as clergy and other dignitaries, into his power in order thereby to make them amenable to the sect, whose members sought, and thereby hoped, finally to realize their plans for world domination. Therefore he troubled himself also primarily around the great people of France, which, in keeping with the plans of the sect, was to be the next land annexed by Germany, through which already the greatest part of Europe at that time was to stand under the sect control. The initiates of the sect at the time quite consciously spun a fable intertwined legend around Saint Germain in order to allow him to appear in the light of an immortal and a master, although he did not belong as a member of the sect at all, which did not hinder him, Saint Germain, from portraying himself as master of the sect and therewith as an initiate. He knew very well to expand the legends spun about him by the sect and to provide enormous fame for himself. It was only thereby astonishing that the sect had actually drawn him in with their plans, in this form, as an outsider. A fact that we, from our side, also could not clarify. He received quite personally, from King Frederick the Great, the awarded honorary title of an immortal, after which Saint Germain implanted in him, with the power of his uncommonly high hypnotic capabilities, the notion that he, Saint Germain, was already years 2004 old. Frederick the Great was himself not conscious of the employed hypnosis and was of the belief that he had obtained his knowledge about the age of Saint Germain through higher spirits, so also the knowledge thereby that the magician had an immortal-making elixir at his disposal that Saint Germain also manufactured after a corresponding discussion with Frederick the Great. In truth, however, the mixture was an evil broth made out of various hallucinogenic poisons and drugs that called forth deep euphoria. Through the far-spread sect he was also initiated in European history, from which he retained any small details with his truly phenomenal memory, with which he astounded and quite terrified them that he was the best connoisseur of history and deluded them that he was, through this, all-knowing. Through his uncommon shrewdness and cunning he reached also into the most intimate secrets of the various kings' families and of many other people, that he then revealed again as secret knowledge, which often shifted the people into angst and terror, or allowed them to presume he had supernatural powers and capabilities. Many times he obtained such intimate secrets through secret dealings with female servants, who he paid off with material things of value and with bodily love, which was not a burden for him because, on one hand, he had at his disposal very enormous material wealth, and on the other hand he was very sexually potent. A favorite means of obtaining secrets was, however, his hypnotic capabilities that he especially brought into engagement with highly positioned personalities, especially females, and thereby unlocked the ultimate and most intimate secrets that he then, at a later point in time, revealed to them again, after he had taken the memory of the hypnosis from them. Thereby he appeared as a giant among all the magicians of the time. So it was no wonder that he was raised to the position of a real master. He occupied himself yet, however, with many kinds of other things, so, for example, also with diamonds and with other kinds of precious stones and minerals, etc. He could also produce fake gold, a chemical covering of metal that then behaved like gold. And the deceived people believed, in their delusion and ignorance, that he could manufacture gold. Also he knew how to purify contaminated, precious stones through his magic. These, however, he regularly retained for a longer time because he was not able to work on them himself. So he always brought them to a cousin in Holland who then purified these precious stones for him, in that he ground off the cloudiness which existed in this material,